All right, empowered to lead. We're so excited for tonight's call. We are so blessed to have the most amazing Lauren Sims with us. Lauren has her accolades, her rank, all of that is really inspiring and incredible. But what this really boils down to is that Lauren has been spending a lot of years changing a lot of lives. My favorite thing about her is that she comes from a background of fitness and nutrition and has a super huge passion for it. But she has been able to find a home with Isogenics to be able to foster both of those passions and change even more lives than she was able to do beforehand. So she is currently a 5-star Golden Circle, 6-star Crystal Executive, a Star Ambassador, and Start 1000, which means that she is in the first 1,000 people in Isogenics between the ages of 18 and 35 to hit 3-star or above, making a 6-figure income. So incredible. So we're so grateful that she's made time for us so that she can talk about one of the most incredible and underutilized tools, a 3-way call. And so I have some questions set aside for you, Lauren, and I'm jazzed to hear what you've got to say to us, because I've heard stories about some of the 3-way call experiences and how you were taught and everything else. So I'm just so excited for you to share this with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it, guys. So Lauren, please tell a little bit about your story, kind of like how you got started with Isogenics. But then if you could segue into how the 3-way call played a role in your success in the beginning, and like really, why are these calls so important to you?
Yeah, that's great. So the short story of how I got involved in Isogenics, because I want this to be more about, the content for you tonight, is I was in nutrition and fitness. So I had a private practice and I was a trainer and teaching group fitness. And I had been pitched network marketing company after network marketing company after network marketing company for years because people knew I had a network and, I was exchanging time for money, but I ran away from it. I didn't know anything about the business model except that I hated it, out of naivety. I never saw a product line that I was impressed with. And when I would go to these meetings and people kind of pitched this lifestyle to me, it turned me off. When I would see flashy cars or flashy homes and watching people tell stories of things they hadn't done, I saw a lot of, authentic behavior, incongruencies. And I was like, if that was my goal in life, I wouldn't have signed up to be a trainer. It's like we all kind of know teachers are not millionaires, but that's not why they became teachers. And so it was an industry I really never wanted to be a part of. And I had quite a few series of events happen in 2013, a lot in one weekend. But on the product side, I'd come off of doing a fitness competition and it trashed me. And even though I looked great on stage, I was exhausted. I was living off of caffeine. I mean, I had an IV of coffee in my body all day long and I could have napped at any given time. I was working out like a crazy person, but I felt like I was watching what other people were eating and gaining weight. Mm-hmm. And I just, was foggy and I had cravings and I was irritable and it didn't feel good. And so I remember, people starting to talk to me about Isogenics and they were talking about this 30-day reset, this fat burning and cleanse reset. And I was like, what's that all about? And I'd kind of been hearing it a little bit, but I had found out it was network marketing, and I was like, no, thank you. And in September of 2013, I had a couple major life transitions happen that wound me on my butt, broken, with $17 to my name. And my cousin, who was one of those people that had been a buzz in my ear about Isogenics, she'd never built the business. She'd just been a happy product user. But she called someone that called someone that called someone that called someone, and it went up the Isogenics food chain to Janny Elo. And I was fortunate enough to get a call from someone who's like a real life guardian angel to me. And I just remember her, introducing herself to me, and she didn't sell me products. She didn't sell me shakes. She didn't sell me cleanse. She didn't sell me a compensation plan. She didn't sell me a vision of financial freedom off the bat. She got to know me and she asked me questions like, what would it be like to not exchange time for money anymore? What would it be like to go on vacation and it not cost more to not work for a week than the cost of the trip? She asked me what it would be like to have a team of people that were like-minded and, we could partner our strengths and weaknesses and help that many more people. And I got super excited. And by the time I was already in love with this model and already in love with the company culture she was explaining to me and this idea of residual and supplemental and passive income, I didn't know it was Isogenics. And then I found out it was Isogenics. I was like, the shake thing, and it was, just so, like divine intervention in my life, like physically, financially, in all different areas. And so I hopped on our products, and I was skeptical. I was going to do the business regardless. I knew that, right? I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this. Even if I don't like the shakes, I don't like the bars. I was like a whole food, Whole30 girl. I was like, I'll take the vitamins. I'll figure it out, But I was shocked because within days, I was feeling so much better. Like, I was waking up before my alarm clock. I wasn't snoozing a gazillion times. I wasn't living on this IV of coffee. And, I was slipping back into older jeans and getting stronger in the gym. So my belief in these products, I knew it in the first day, like few days, the first week. I didn't have to wait a month to talk about it. And I was excited to share, and I wanted to be on the Eat for Free program. And I knew it was a referral-based business. And even though I was a nutritionist, even though I have a background in health and wellness, the three-way call came into my business right away, partially because I did not want to approach my clients or the patients at the doctor's office I was working in. Like, I felt like it was a conflict of interest at the time. I was like, the doctors are going to fire me if they think I'm in an MLM company. I didn't know, I was brand new. And so I started talking to like my cold market. Just people I was meeting out or kind of reaching out to friends and family. And even though I knew food and I knew calories and I knew, vitamins and minerals, I didn't know isogenics. All I knew was what I did. I didn't understand how to overcome objections. I didn't understand the placement, who would go on the left, who would go on the right, and why. I didn't understand the different systems. I didn't understand why someone would do a healthy lifestyle pack or a value pack or a 30-day system, or, how to even sell that. I'd never really been in sales. And I remember just Janie and a couple of the people in her organization partnering with me and say, we're going to help you because this is the best way you can learn. And we learn by action. We learn by diving into it. And I was committed, to being that ignorance on fire. I didn't want to be, perfection on ice. And so I trusted her. And from the get-go, it was like, I knew I wasn't going to put her on the phone with me doing laundry or cleaning my house and letting her do the call. I was like, I'm going to learn so much. And we would set up a call, and I would get a notebook and a piece of paper, and I would just start writing notes. I was paying attention to the questions she was asking the guest or the prospect. I was paying attention to the way she was introducing our systems. I was paying attention to how she overcame objections. And I knew that this was the best way for me to learn. It was like the apprenticeship model. She was showing me how to do that. So from the beginning, it was, one of the best tools for me to learn, because as I was connecting with people and I was excited, and I was like, you've got to do this 30-day system. Like, I feel amazing. And people started asking me questions. I would just say, I don't know. Like, I don't know this company. Like, I don't know the supplement line, but I know someone who really does. We're going to call you together, because she can answer all your questions, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. And people respected that I was putting them in touch with a knowledgeable person. People respected that I wasn't trying to be a know-it-all when I didn't know it all, and they were really comfortable kind of getting information from someone more experienced and like a wiser person, even though I had this background. So from the beginning, they were a tool of mine that really just launched me forward as not only a learning mechanism, but really as a way to get my business going, because I didn't have to wait to know everything, because all I had to do was use the tools of the people that didn't know everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love how when you started your story and you talked about Janie reaching out to you, and how like a lot of the purpose behind a three-way call is that validation. But even though you didn't have all three of you on the phone, you still had a third party come in and validate that for you. And that's what really cast that vision more than your cousin could. So that's really incredible. And then I love how you talked about the respect, like people being able to respect you because you're willing to say, okay, I don't know the answer to that, but I know someone who does. And that's great. So I would love it if you could give a few examples. I'm going to go out of order with my questions just because you're starting to hint at a few things. But I would love if you could give a few examples of some verbiage. How do you initiate a three-way call? Or, so start with that, like the verbiage, like how do you initiate a three-way call, the different ways that you do it with people?
So I think how I do it now, or how I coach my team, has a lot to do with why we're doing the three-way call and where you are in your level of the business. So I will talk to you about for brand new people and kind of what we do and how we set it up, and then also for people that are more experienced, or what I call isogenics veterans. So for the new person, it's very similar to what I was just saying, that I crutched on Janie because I didn't know. And a lot of times when we're asking people like, oh my gosh, you just had an amazing cleanse day. Like, who do you know that wants to use the products? Or, who do you know that would want to do a 30-day system? People are going, well, I don't know everything. Like, I've never been in sales. I don't want to sell anything. And they're telling themselves so many reasons why they can't do this. Well, I don't know what ingredients are in the products, or I don't know where it comes from, or they're feeling that they can't share. That the three-way call, I think, opens up the door for them to have permission to not be the expert, but leverage someone who's more skilled or someone who's a little bit more experienced. And it's literally about being as vulnerable as just saying, I'm new to this. I don't really know, but I want to put you in touch with somebody who does. So I have a brand new girl right now, and she's someone, this is so great you're asking me, who's very intimidated by the three-way call. She thinks they're weird. And she's like, Lauren, I'm not going to put my friends on the phone with you. Like, they're intimidated by you. I'm like, why? They don't know me. Why would they be intimidated by me? Like, what have you told them? And she's like, well, they just feel like they're going to get sold. And I was like, well, that's how you're positioning it. Mm-hmm. If you position it in a way that it's a conversation, it's an educational session, it's an informational session, a place where people can ask questions, a safe place, they're not going to feel that way. So what I suggest people not do, this is what not to do, is, if Rachel, you are like the prospect and I'm the new person, and let's say we're trying to get on the phone with Cindy or something, I'm going to be like, okay, Rachel, well, I'm brand new to selling Isogenics, so I'm going to get you on the phone with my upline. When can we call you tonight? Like, all of that sounds weird. Number one, you're talking about selling something. No one knows what an upline is. Like, that's the part that makes this weird. But if I were to say, hey, girl, I'm so excited that you want to know more about this 30-day system. I feel amazing in the last couple days. Say, but I'm still learning, and I am so nervous to give you the wrong information or not provide you exactly what you're looking for. I am going to call you later with the girlfriend that got me started, because she's been doing this a lot longer, and I know she can answer all of your questions. And maybe what you're looking for is different than what I'm looking for. Maybe you were not going to do the exact same thing, and I want you to have the best experience. I want you to get exactly what you're looking for. So if you could tell me a couple times that work great for you, like, we'd really love to just call you together. And I think it's taking that sales pressure away. It's taking that upline, downline, mentor person away, and just being able to be like, hey, I don't know all the answers, and I want to help you. My friend Melanie always says, as a part of the process. That's the way how she's made this not weird, and I've kind of adapted that language from her. So sometimes she'll, like, if we had connected, let's say you and I were at work, and you were like, oh my gosh, like, what's in that shaker bottle thing? Like, I see you drink it every day, and I'm like, oh, these are my isogenic shakes, and why are you doing that? And say, oh, I wanted to lose 10 pounds for my friend's wedding. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have a friend's wedding. And like, how can I get started? I might say something like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. As a part of the process, I want to introduce you to my friend that got me started, just so we can kind of show you a video. We can talk to you, we can get to your goals and figure out, what's the best way to get you those results. Cause we might not do the same thing, or, you might want different flavors, or you might want a different system than me. And I'm still learning. I think the main thing is to just kind of be like, I'm still learning. I don't know everything. And you're introducing the person to provide information, not to close.
Yeah, and I love that, because so much of the verbiage that you use, Lauren, and it's probably so just ingrained in what you do now, but everything you said, not in the first example, but everything else was about service and relationships.
Yes.
Every single thing. And it felt so much, like even when you just gave the example, and I know that it's an example, I could feel my body tense. Like, you said get, you said upline, you said sell, you said all the words that make people like, ugh,
yes,
gross. You're one of those people. But literally, hey, let's have a conversation and help you get the results that you want. It's like, it opens the door in such a different way. It's not yanking it open. It's like you're walking through it with them. I love that. That's awesome verbiage.
So I think then the three-way calls with people that are, more skilled or been doing this longer, like you had alluded to before, the entire thing is third-party validation. And I have been coaching my team since the beginning that three-way calls are the bread and butter of this business for enrolling, for rank advancing, for celebration, for dealing with an unhappy cleanser. It doesn't matter. This is a team model. And the faster that you can introduce people to the team, the culture, all the different ways of doing this, all the different people that they can relate to, the better. And so 3.5 years into this, and I'm not an expert, I'm still learning, right? But I can overcome most objections. Like, I know that I can, sell from the top down, or those types of things that I've learned, because it's a skills-based business. Yeah. If I'm getting you started today, and we don't do a three-way call, you're going to think it's weird when I tell you to do a three-way call. But if we get started on a three-way call, when it comes time for you to share and you set them up, you're not going to think it's weird because that's how you got started. Yeah. So when I have been doing this a lot longer, I try to pair like-minded people with like-minded people. Let's say, for example, you and I are friends at the gym and you're saying, hey, I'm nursing. Like, do you know if isogenics is safe for nursing? Like, is that something I could do? Instead of being the know-it-all nutritionist, which is not duplicative, yes, I could send her an article. What I think best case scenario is like, oh my gosh, yes. I'm like, I know there's so many girls on our team page that are nursing that have used isogenics, and say what I'd actually love to do is call you with my friend Marla. Like, I know she's been nursing the last 3 months. I'd love for her to tell you exactly kind of what product she's using, not only because I'm not currently nursing, but I've never nursed, and I would rather you talk to someone who's been through this than me, and then we can go from there and see what's best for you. Like.
But I love that means that you're learning too. So even though you're not going to use that information to be a know-it-all later, if you're in a situation where someone's asking you and you just need to give them an answer, like you've heard it and you can reference that. Like, oh, my friend Laura, she actually just connected with another gal in the same situation. So it's validation just keeps pouring forth. That's really cool. I love, Lauren, how you talked about it being a team model. And I don't know why I've done these before for my team, but I think it's so neat that you use three-way calls to talk about events, to hype up events. You use three-way calls for enrollments and just for introducing, welcoming people, people who are just having a hard time cleansing. Like, you use three-way calls for everything. I think
everything. And if you message me and you're like, Lauren, I don't think this is working. Like, I've been really gassy. I've been really bloated. I'm going to send it back. I can try and talk to you, but you've probably already made up your mind. But if I can get you on the phone with someone else who was gassy and bloated in their first week and stuck with it, the chances of you sticking with it are greater. If you're someone that I enrolled that just went consultant and I'm like, oh my gosh, Rachel, congratulations. Like, you reached consultant. Like, it's fun. You're like, oh, Lauren's proud of me. But if I can call you with 2 other people on the phone and we're like, woohoo, you found your first 2 people, like, it's fun. And we're really showing that team model from the jump. And the more that we can get everybody understanding how not weird it is, like you said, it's about support, it's about relationships, it's about connection, the less weird we can make this for all the new people.
I love that. Okay, that's an awesome tip. I'm putting like 5,000 stars next to that one. I love it. Okay. Okay, cool. So can you talk a little bit about the verbiage when you're setting up a call? So not setting up like introducing the call, like, oh, hey, I want to get you on the phone with this person. But when you're actually on the phone, talk about like, what is the structure that you train your team to use that's been most effective for you?
So here's what not to do, okay? The not. Let's say, again, I'm getting you on the phone with Cindy. And I'm like, I call Cindy, I call you, I merge the calls. And I'm like, Rachel, are you there? Cindy, are you there?
Yeah.
You're like, awesome. Like, the amount of calls I've gotten on you guys, and they're like, John, Lauren. And then I'm like, hi, John. I'm like, why don't you tell me a little bit about you? Or like, do you know anything about me? Like, there has to be some type of introduction, because the same way, if I was sitting at Starbucks with you and a friend walked in, I'm not just going to be like, Rachel, meet John, John, meet Rachel, or something. I'd be like, John, meet Rachel. Like, she's one of my really good friends from Isogenics. Say, Rachel, meet John. He's another trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, or something. You want to build rapport. Like, that's just, common courtesy and the way that we are. The same way if you had friends over at a party, like, you make connections on what they do or who they are. So I think really specific to the three-way call, I always introduce my expert first. I introduce my, the person I've invited to the call first, and then the prospect. And I want to make both people feel amazing. I think you really set the tone with this, and I want to make both people feel special. And I think it depends, again, on the type of call. Like, let's just say I was recruiting another successful network marketer, and I had Janny on the phone. Heck yeah, I'm going to go through her accolades, because I'm edifying who she is, and we are sharing, that you're on the phone with the 96 millionaire. She's a woman of the year for Isogenics. She's created, 15 millionaires in the company. I call her the millionaire maker, or whatever it may be. It's going to be totally different than if I've got her on the prospect and, we're just trying to put 2 similar people in the boat. So I think it's really, really important to make sure that you're aware of the context. So again, if it's like a business call and you really want to be able to edify who the person is, do it. But if not, make them relatable. So if I were to go into the example again of like the nursing mama, let's just say we're getting on the phone. Rachel, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Marla, right? And so I would say, Marla, I am so excited to introduce you to Rachel, and actually I'm going the other way. Marla is the expert. So I said, Rachel, I'm so excited that I get to introduce you to Marla. I said, she's been using Isagenix for 18 months. She used it through her pregnancy. She's been nursing. She's, an amazing product of the product. She just loves people and it oozes throughout her body. You're going to be so excited when you hear what this has done for her family. And she's just the funnest person ever. You're going to adore her. I say, Marla, meet Rachel. Like, she's the sweetest girl in the whole world. We know each other from the gym. She just had her baby. She wants to knock out a few unwanted, postpartum pounds, and say she's a little timid to take supplements and, put some stuff in her body. And I just think that together we can share with her why we have the best nutrition and how this is really going to help her. And so I think the main thing is, not just introducing their names, but giving a little story, a little background, making both people feel really, really, really special, and then connecting them and relating them that they understand why they're on the phone together.
I love that. And Lauren, even as you're talking about this, everything you do is about the team. Because even when you're introducing the two people, it's like, I really we can come together. Yeah. You said that word a few times, come together and help you, figure out the best way for you to use these products or whatever that looks like. So always forward speaking and bringing in the team model. That's awesome. Okay. So, we've talked about it a little bit. So if you don't feel like you have to repeat anything, but if there's anything that you feel like you would like to touch on, but what can make or break a three-way call experience?
So I think what breaks it is the person not knowing they're getting on a three-way call. I don't like to surprise them. Yes. If I've not told you I'm calling you with somebody else and all of a sudden I call you with Marla on the phone, you're going to feel like an invasion of your privacy. You're going to be like, this is weird. What's this all about? Unless you're an expert, you can really smooth that over. So I think the first step is really scheduling that appointment and letting, the expert know why they're talking to this person and letting your prospect, letting your guest know why we're doing that. And again, it's explaining the value. It's not upline. It's not sales. It's why do you want to do this? The same way, if someone asked me about real estate in Denver, I don't know. I don't know anything. I've rented my entire life. But I could say, you know what? I can introduce you to my friend Kevin. He's this top real estate agent, and I'm sure he can help you. And we would get on the phone, and I would be like, hey, my friend Rach is moving to Denver, and she's looking at property, and she has my opinion, and I really don't know. And I was like, but Rach, Kevin knows this industry and the inside of out. He can really help you. It's letting both people know and making them feel special. So I think what can break it is not letting the person know and really not properly introducing, edifying both parties. And I also think when both people are talking at the same time and talking over each other. So once you set up the three-way call, it's let that expert go to work. That's why they're on the phone. And sometimes when two people are talking or they're interrupting each other, or God forbid, they say things that are contradictive, you're like, what's just happening? And it's the opposite of the team model. You really feel how that person can be or it can feel bombarding.
Right.
And I think there's a way to invite them into the conversation. So if I was on the phone and I would just say, well, Rach, why don't you tell Sarah a little bit about what a shake day looks for you. If I pull you back in, I say, what was your first cleanse day like? Tell her. If I invite you back in, that's one thing. So I would say those are kind of the three deal breakers. And I think the things that make it really well is pretty much the opposite, but being professional, setting the appointment, letting both parties know, edification, and then just being really respectful of their time. People want to hear themselves speak. So, you're giving information, but you're not there to talk over people. You're not there to convince people. And I think, be a good listener, be a good question asker, and just provide the information of what they're looking for, and then hop off. My three-way calls on average are 15 minutes. If we're on the phone 20 to 30 minutes, it's because it's a unique situation or they weren't prepped, they weren't pre-qualified, something didn't happen. But for the most part, because you get on there, you ask the question, hear their story, you provide solutions. And so I think part of that setting them up too would just be like making sure they've seen a tool, making sure they've heard the story, that the three-way call is not there to do your prospecting. The three-way call is there to help close, third-party validation, provide additional information.
That's good to know, because I know a lot of people, also depends on their personality, but sometimes those three-way calls can go like an hour. And even that person who you're calling who has questions, they probably don't want to be on the phone for an hour either. The expert probably does not want to be on the phone for an hour. And even though you're learning a lot and you're hearing a lot of verbiage, like that's a good point just to have kind of a goal, like a boundary. But to know that means there's got to be some footwork done ahead of time. That's important. It can't just be like, oh, this person's interested, let's do a three-way call without any sort of prep ahead of time. So can you talk about that a little bit? So I would say the majority of the three-way calls that I've been asked to be a part of, or that I hear other people being asked to be a part of, they are, oh, somebody's interested, they've reached out and asked me questions, and we're going to talk tomorrow at 4. And so between now and tomorrow at 4, Lauren, you've asked me to do a three-way call with you. What do you need to do? What is your part in between now and tomorrow at 4 o'clock to set up that three-way call, or to get that person the information they need before they get on the phone with me?
So I think that, part of that pre-qualified process is sending a tool, sending a video of what's, most interested in them, so that we can get on the phone with, what you love about the video? What excites you about these products, and what specific questions do you have? Because if they've not seen anything, you're starting from scratch, and the part that, alleviates people from having to be the expert is that we don't have to talk about all of the ins and outs of the ingredients. We don't have to talk about the ins and outs of the company history. We don't have to talk about whatever that is, because our tools do it for us. So if, I've asked you to do the three-way call for me, and let's just say that we're on the phone with, the girl that's pregnant and nursing again. I might say, hey, I want you to watch this quick video, or would you have time to watch this quick video before we call you tomorrow? And I might also add a link. So if I were to send like Transform Your Life and say, just watch this, it's a quick overview of our company. And then here's an article that specifically talks about, breastfeeding and nursing and how this can work. And I'll send that Isagenix Health link. So I'm using the tools. It's very duplicative, but she can do some background information. Then we get on the phone, we're getting to those specific questions, right? So just right now, this just happened before we got on this, Rach. Someone messaged me and she said, hey, can you do a three-way call tonight? And I said, sure, who is it? And she said, it's another nurse I work with. She wants to lose weight. And I said, perfect. What video did you send her? Because this is how I can tell if they've been. And she was like, I haven't sent her a video yet. And I said, well, which one do you think would be best? Let's give her some information so that when we get on the phone, we're dealing with her specifically and not educating her about the systems. Yeah. And then we talked about why we would send Mary Evans Just Cleanse as opposed to Transform Your Life. Or, when some people reach out to me and they go, hey, can you help me with a three-way call? I'll say, yes, who is it? And they say, oh my gosh, it's the bartender that I met, the other day, and she really, really wants to make supplemental income. Totally. Let's cast the vision for her. And I said, what video did you send? I haven't sent a video. And they'll say, well, what video do you think you should send? I think I'm going to send Mary Evans Just Cleanse. And I say, Mary Evans is brilliant. It's great about our products. What does that have to do about the vision? What does that have to do with the opportunity? And they're like, oh, and I'm like, so maybe we should send Enterprising Women, or maybe we should send Start Your Life, or, why Isagenix is really encompassing. And it's kind of teaching your team in that process of not only how we're edifying our time and pre-qualifying, the prospect, but we're also getting them familiar with our tools, and we're also getting that person informed that it's a benefit of all of our time. And if the person can't watch a 5-minute video before we get on the phone, they're just not ready yet. They're not serious.
Yeah, that's great. I love that step-by-step system, because then it's really making it efficient for everybody. And again, just because you're getting an expert on the phone, the three-way call itself is a really great tool, but you have to use it exactly like you said. You wouldn't send Just Cleanse to someone who wants to make a supplemental income. So you have to use the tool the correct way for it to be effective. So that's a really great tips. Thank you for that.
And I think it helps teach your team too, to be really proactive or find where things are, I'm all about showing you and giving you the tracks to run on, but I'm not going to do it for you. Right. So I'm like, but here, send this video, and just send the link, because they don't know. Yeah. So I'm like, why don't you go to Movie? Look at the ones in Wealth Creation. Which one do you think would be best for this person? You know her. I don't know her. I didn't know if the bartender was 55 years old or 25 years old. And I think that makes a difference. And so it really helps, I think, empower your team too, that you're teaching them and not just doing it for them.
I love that. Yeah, I'm all about teaching to fish for sure.
And I also, the last thing I would say is right before the call, confirm with both parties, send some type of reminder, and confirm that the video has been watched or something. So if we schedule the call today, let's say, what's today, Tuesday? Let's say we're talking Thursday at noon. Like around 10 or 11 o'clock today, say, I'm super excited to talk to you at noon. Just want to make sure you watch the video or something, or like if you were the prospect into the expert space, I'm like, hey, we're still on for noon today. She's watched the video.
Yeah.
This is the video I sent her. She's watched Mary Evans Just Climbs, or she's watched Start Your Life, or she's watched whatever, because it sets both people up. But when I send that confirmation, just like you suggested earlier, I'm forward speaking. I don't give people an out. So I'm not going to say, hey, does it still work for you to talk today at 12? I'm not going to say, hey, do you still want to talk today? Right? I'm talking like it's doing it. I'm so excited to talk to you in a couple hours. Just want to make sure you watch the video. Or I'm so excited to talk to you in a couple hours. Is this still the best number to reach you at? Like, where I'm confirming, but I'm not expecting you to cancel. I just am reassuring you that my time is valuable and we're committed to the appointment.
I love it. Okay, one of the things that you said that I think is really incredible, just to be able to empower other people, is that it's really the responsibility of the person who's asking for the three-way call to be handing out the information, coordinating, organizing, delegating, all of those things, so that you can come in as the expert and really give that third-party validation. But then you're back out again, and then they take over, and it's like you're kind of helping them to manage that and manage that whole process.
I mean, I definitely think we have a lot of product users that don't want to do the business, right? So I think let's just say you don't want to sell this, you don't want to do it, you don't get on training calls, but you message me and you were like, hey, these two girls at work are asking about what I'm doing. I don't really know what to tell them. I don't know what to say to them.
Right.
I might say, well, if you're comfortable, why don't you put us in a group message or group text and just say that, and I can reach out to them and I'll do it on my own. I would still make you the enrolling sponsor. They're your referrals, but I know you're not really doing the business. So I don't want you to feel stressed that you don't want to refer in the future. It's like, oh, now I got to do all this work. You know what I mean?
Right.
If that's not what you want to do. Or sometimes I tell people to just send the introduction, like, hey, Mary, I wanted you to meet Lauren, Lauren meet Mary. I work with her. Lauren's my sponsor. I don't sell it. She does, or whatever. She can help you from here on out or something, which is much different in terms of my expectations than someone who really wants to build a business. And even if you're an associate and you're not paid yet, if you want to be a business builder, that's when I think it's really important to empower people and teach them the skills, because you have to start at some level. And if you just do it for people, they're never going to learn to do it, for themselves. Yeah. But I think it's really important to kind of know, supporting your product users and, elevating and duplicating and teaching your business builders how to do something. My expectations definitely vary on what I know their goals are and their whys are.
That's a really good tip. I like that. Okay. So then, Lauren, is there a point where somebody maybe doesn't need to request three-way calls anymore in their business? You talked about people who are just getting started. You talked about you being the person who's requested to be on three-way calls. So is there really a point where you just don't need to be requesting them anymore? You kind of just do all your calls on your own?
So here's the catch-22 with this. Like I said, I'm confident I can close my own people, right? I'm confident that I can do my own enrollment calls. When I have done that, my business stalls, because the nature of network marketing is duplicative. The person that's the most duplicative wins. That's what we have to do. And if I stop doing three-way calls, then I'm back to that point of when I want them to do a three-way call, they think it's weird, right? They're like, why? You didn't have one with me. Why would I get someone else on the phone? Or they're less likely, let's say that, when they start, rank advancing and I'm calling with other people and they're kind of like, why are all these people on the phone? They can't figure it out. That even if I think I know all the answers, I try. I mean, that being said, when someone's hot, they're hot. And if we happen to be somewhere and they're like, I'm ready, I'm not going to be like, well, let me call you in an hour because I need to get Jessica on the phone, right? I'm like, awesome, chocolate or vanilla. It's you kind of got to trust it. And if people are ready, that's what you have to pay attention to. So I do my best to still always include third-party validation or that team model. Yeah. However, if I enroll someone, when I'm traveling on a plane or, sometimes I do my own prospecting or meet people out belly to belly, as fast as I can, I still try to introduce them to the team model. Mm-hmm. So sometimes our day 5 call, if you guys have never seen Tracy Malley's, 14-day talk, watch it. But that day 5 call, a lot of times I'll call with somebody. So if like, Rachel, you're in your first week, you've just knocked out your first cleanse, and I've scheduled a call with you. I say, I'm going to call you on day 5. Like I might call you with Laura and be like, Rachel, and say, congratulations, you just knocked out your first cleanse day. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I was like, Laura's on the phone. Do you know her from the team page? And so we're so proud of you. We're so excited. And we both want to, congratulate you. And somehow as fast as I can, I'm incorporating that third party that they start to see how not weird this is and just how fun it can be.
Yeah. Oh my
And
God.
I will tell you, I can't even tell you, literally thousands of time, people have been intimidated to get someone on the phone. Like if, you were brand new and, you're being coachable and you want me to talk to Beth and you're just like, I don't know, I think these are weird or something. But if you do it right and you set it up, like 99.9% of the time, the person on the other end is thanking you. Right? We get so in our head about this, but all the time people are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking time to help me today. Like, thank you so much. Like, and I'll say, I'm so excited we get to talk to you. And like, well, I know you're really busy. Like, thank you for making time. And people are so grateful to get all the extra knowledge and love. And so just remember that it's not about a hard sell. It is about knowledge. It is about education. It is about fun. And, the more that you do it, the more you'll see that people are actually really, really grateful to have someone else on the phone.
Well, and just to connect with people. I mean, it may seem intimidating at first, but that's just because we don't do it very often. Like how often do we just like meet friends and then they bring a separate friend just to meet us, just to introduce us to, it's kind of an art that's been lost over the years. And so what an incredible opportunity for people to really feel like we're giving them time and attention, and it's not in a weird way. So I love those tips. Lauren, you have seriously given like so many gems. I'm like trying to stay focused, but I'm like writing so many things down. So I'm excited to go back and listen. But is there anything of all the questions that I've asked and the amazing information you've given us, is there any last thing that you're just like, okay, you for sure have to know this about a 3-way call, or like one last tip or one last thought that you have?
I would just say that be really detached from the outcome, because they're all not going to end in an enrollment, and that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Like we know it's 10 conversations per enrollment. So, the more that you get experts on there and they might have a higher close rate, that ratio may change. But just because that person didn't enroll right away doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. Didn't mean that the expert did anything wrong. They're just not ready yet, and that's okay. So I'm just a huge fan of being duplicative and giving people scripts in the beginning on what's the best way to set it up, but just don't make it weird. Like I want to my Isagenix hashtag is like, don't make it weird. And just think like where you are in your business and why would it be beneficial to have someone on the phone. I mean, like you said, when I'm trying to get someone to events, I can sit there and go, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing, and Tony Robbins is going to be on stage, it's going to blow up your business. But if the girl I'm talking to has a kid's first day of first grade, right, and they're looking at me like, you don't have kids, you don't know what it's like to miss my son's first day of first grade, they don't care what I'm saying about Tony Robbins. But if I can get Cindy Hedges on the phone that has a gazillion children to say, you know what, these are the sacrifices I made to create this for my family. I know right now that we want to make it our excuse, but that's really our reason. There's so much impact in that. And so when you're feeling like you're stalled, whether it's with creating consultants, it's with creating leaders, it's with enrollments, it's with unhappy cleansers, it's with whatever it may be. When sometimes people say, can you do a 3-way call? Say, who is it for? Who's the best person to do this call? That just come from that place of service and value. Like, why do you want someone else on the phone? And what does that do for the other person? And then they just flow with each.
I love that. Lauren, thank you so much for those tips. Okay, team, this is a call. Like, save this link in your phones, because 3-way calls, as a team, we're going to start incorporating these at every level. I know we do so many of these 3-way calls in the initial conversation, or when we're helping somebody just learn more about Isagenix, or when we really want to help somebody take that next step to enrolling and starting their journey. But all the things that Lauren has told us, there's opportunity for 3-way calls and team spirit and team model throughout the entire process. And as we talk about a lot in our group, the real work starts when they say yes. It's not leading up to that. After that, when they decide they want to change their lives and they're going through their product experience and they're jumping into the journey with their business, that's when we really get to jump in and coach them and help them and guide them and walk in step with them. What an amazing tool that Lauren has opened our eyes to, is that I was so proud of myself. I used to underutilize the 3-way calls so much in the beginning. I thought they were weird. And now I'm all about the 3-way call and making my team do it. But now I realize, Lauren, thank you for helping me with this. I'm still underutilizing it. There's so many other ways. I've so many ideas, so many other ways that I can use this, and that starts today. So thank you so much
Yay.
for
You're
these.
so welcome. It was so fun to be on here. And you guys, just so you know, I love helping. That if you guys ever need help, just ping me on Facebook. And especially with fitness people, nutrition people, I'm more than happy to help you.
I love it. Lauren, you're awesome. All right, Empowered Leaders, so excited for the call tonight. I hope you took a ton of notes. Throw some feedback in the group. Really tag people in this so they know that it's here so they can see this too. And we're so excited. Lauren, thank you so much for all of your time. We love you so much.
You're welcome. Love you guys. Thank you.